Hello and welcome. We cannot wait further as we have to complete our course within 3 months of time, and we are already lagging behind the time. So we will start. We have told that today we will go to Robert's chronic disease and we'll read that. But until and unless someone is present to read it, I cannot go to Robert's chronic disease. Let's see. Someone should be there to read. So yesterday at aphorism number, today we will start from aphorism number 80. Okay, aphorism number 80 gives the primary uh, manifestation of all the miasms. What are the primary manifestations of all the miasm? It is given here, and you can add some point to these primary manifestation from the chronic diseases. Okay, there in chronic diseases, primary manifestation has been a bit elaborated there. Okay, like where these primary manifestation of SORA, primary manifestation of psychosis and syphilis is occurring. Okay, in the pudenda and vaginal region and in the glans pubis. Okay, read aphorism number 80. Incalculably greater and more important than the two chronic miasm just named. Okay, two chronic miasm just named. Just named means above, is referring above to aphorism number 79. However, is the chronic miasm of SORA, which while those, this is a complex sentence, okay, try to understand it. While those two reveal their specific internal dyscrasia, while those two means syphilis and psychosis, one by venereal chancre and the other by cauliflower like growth. One by venereal means SORA, other name for SORA is non-venereal miasm, okay, and other name for psychosis and syphilis is venereal miasm. Venereal miasm means related to the sexual organ and those having primary manifestation on the sexual organ. So venereal miasm includes psychosis and syphilis, and non-venereal miasm includes only SORA. So venereal chancre, that is chancre on the sexual organ. Okay, yani ulcer. Chancre means ulcer. The other by cauliflower like growth on the same, okay, pudenda, vagina, glans pubis, like that. So cauliflower like growth along with discharges. Okay, gonorrhea, one of the we will read our chronic diseases from a bit from chronic diseases of Hahnemann and from Roberts basically, but not from the Kent's. While Kent's include the higher studies of miasm, and you will get confused while reading the Kent's chronic diseases. Okay, what he have explained in his lectures, these are quite confusing. Okay, there that gonorrhea has been separated from psychosis. That he's telling that gonorrhea is an acute disease like any other acute disease, and it is separated from psychosis. Okay, so we don't need ourselves to be confused. The motto of this class, the purely clinical understanding and clinical application. So we won't go in detailed study of Kent's chronic disease, concept of chronic disease according to Kent. Okay, we have discussed a bit yesterday that according to Kent, SORA is the basic of all miasm, but according to Hahnemann, what is there in the content, that SORA is the mother of all the miasm, all the diseases except psychosis and syphilis. But according to Kent, this SORA is the mother of also of the chronic miasm of psychosis and syphilis. So Kent, while going to Kent for the chronic disease, it's not a wise idea. We will confuse ourselves. Okay, what we want from this understanding of chronic disease, we want a practical application of it, not an academic debate on it. Okay, whether this syphilis is transferable in secondary stages or not, whether psychosis is transferable in secondary stages or not, these all are academic discussion. We will took our thing for the for all the practical purpose. We are not interested whether this gonorrhea is psychosis or not, whether this gonorrhea, according to Kent, gonorrhea is an acute disease apart from psychosis. Okay, so we won't go into discussion of Kent's philosophy. In what we will follow here, we will follow chronic disease, Hahnemann's chronic disease to some extent, okay, and Robert's philosophy. One of the best book to understand chronic miasm is Robert's philosophy, the chapter of chronic diseases. Okay, this is the best book for beginners. Okay, and other is that J.H. Allen. It is not for the beginners. Okay, J.H. Allen and chronic miasm and Kent's to chhodi do. Kent's, leave the Kent's discussion of Kent on chronic disease. That is not needed, and we will not go to that. We have referred to some extent the chronic miasm of J.H. Allen. Okay, and that is to some extent we will refer to that also, and we will refer to chronic diseases of Hahnemann. And basically our main book for the study of chronic diseases will be this Robert's philosophy. Clear? So this aphorism number 80, venereal chancre other by cauliflower like growth, these are the primary manifestation of psychosis, and syphilis does his here use for sora. This is a complex sentence. You are not finding a full stop even after several lines. Okay, to try to understand these patterns of organon of medicine. Now, does also means sora. Sora also after completion of internal infection of the whole organism. Internal infection of the whole organism. These are what I will say. Please wait a minute. I will come back. I need my this chronic book on chronic miasm. Okay. If you have your chronic miasm with you, at some place, Hahnemann have described this development of any chronic disease with respect to acute miasm. With respect to acute miasm, there is a moment of infection. Then there is impermeation. There is impermeation of whole organism. Okay, page number 33. Page number 33 in this book. Okay, in this book, if you have only theoretic part, I don't know what page it is, but here it is page number 33, where Hahnemann have the
Hello. Sir, you are not audible.
am I audible? Am I audible? Sunil, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, you are audible. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, there was a call. In between, if there is a call, it is automatically disconnected. The class is disconnected. Okay, so page number 33. Got that?
Yes, sir. Page number 33, para the infection with miasms from here.
No, first from the very first line, the second line of this page. First, the time of infection. Go to
Yes, sir. Got it.
the last para. Go to the last para of page number 32.
30. Okay.
Okay, read that.
With the respect to origin from here.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. With respect to the origin of these three chronic maladies, as in the acute miasmatic eruptional disease, three different important moments are to be more attentively considered than has hitherto been done. First, the
Okay, underline
time
this.
of
Three
infection.
different important moments. Underline this. Okay,
First, the time
next.
of infection. Second, the period of time during which the whole organism is being penetrated by the disease infused until it has developed within. And thirdly, the breaking out of external ailments, whereby nature externally demonstrates the completion of the internal development of the miasmatic malady throughout the whole organism.
These three moments, underline first, second, and third. Okay, first, second,
Yes,
and third. Any infectious disease also have these kind of moments. Okay, the second is where the bacteria is this chronic miasm. That is why some of the authors have confused, authority like B.K. Sarkar have confused with chronic miasm and bacteria. Okay, he's telling that bacteria, chronic miasm is nothing but the bacteria. Okay, so this should not be considered. We should not go in this path, trailing in this path. We will just focus on the chronic miasm. This is development of chronic miasm first and second. Second step here Hahnemann have mentioned does also in aphorism number 80, does also after completion of the internal infection. What phase it is? It is the second phase of the development of miasm. After completion of the internal infection of the whole organism has been penetrated by this miasm like this. This is organism, this is point of infection, this is development, and this is bursting out outwardly. Okay? Now go to aphorism number 205.
which, sir?
Aphorism number,
205.
wait a minute. 205. Aphorism number 205 or okay, read it.
The homeopathic physician never treat one of these
Sorry,
primary symptoms
go
of
to
chronic
aphorism
miasm.
number 204. Wait, go to aphorism number 204 and
Okay.
read it.
If we deduct all chronic affections, ailments and diseases that depend on a persistent unhealthy mode of living, as also those innumerable medicinal maladies, as aphorism number 74, caused by the irrational, persistent, harassing, and pernicious treatment of diseases often only of trivial character by physicians of the old school, all the remainder, most of the remainder of the chronic disease in sixth edition, without exception, result from the development of these three chronic miasms: internal syphilis, internal psychosis, but chiefly and in infinitely greater proportion internal sora, each of which was already in possession of the whole
Wait,
organism and had.
please wait here. Please wait here. Now, just a side topic of the pattern of Hahnemann's writing. Hahnemann have deducted what have deducted? from those due to unhealthy lifestyle, and from those due to artificially produced.
Artificial.
He forgot to, okay, and he forgot to exclude one more thing. Can you add? Can you add here? We are telling since very beginning that whenever Hahnemann is talking about diseases, he almost always exclude that particular kind of disease. But here he forgot to exclude that. What is that?
दोनों ही है सर, सीडो क्रॉनिक डिजीज भी है और आर्टिफिशियल क्रॉनिक डिजीज।
आर्टिफिशियल डिजीज भी है। क्या क्या भूल गए हनीमैन यहाँ पे? क्या भूल गए? This pattern is followed throughout the organon. Whenever he is talking about disease, he is excluding that. वो क्या है? Go to aphorism number 13. See the bracket.
सर्जिकल डिजीजेस।
Yes. In the introduction also, whenever he is talking about disease, he is excluding true surgical diseases, those solely due to external causes. Is it not? But he forgot to exclude that. Is it not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, that was the side topic. I want you to develop an inside understanding of the pattern of organon. Okay, so that you can by yourself you will tell that what is going to come next. Okay, and what is missing, what you thought is missing here. Okay, so now that was a side topic. That was not our topic of discussion there. Now go on, please go on. That in the bracket you can in the margin you can write that true surgical disease, aphorism number 13, and introduction where Hahnemann is discussing about the about chronic means about what is called materia piquans. Okay, there Hahnemann also excluding the true surgical disease. Here Hahnemann have forgot to exclude true surgical diseases. Okay, now go on, please go
on. Each of which was already in possession of the whole organism and had penetrated it in all directions before the appearance of the primary vicarious local symptoms of each of them.
Underline this. Had penetrated in all directions. Underline this. This is organism, this is infection, this is development, and then primary action, primary manifestation. This is primary manifestation. Okay, this is primary manifestation. First moment of infection, then development, and then primary manifestation. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, this is stages of development of chronic miasm. Okay, penetrated in all direction. Underline this. Before appearance of primary vicarious local symptoms of each of them. Okay, here the primary manifestation of each of them have been written. Sora, the scabious eruption. One word has been used, the scabious eruption, and there you will find the primary manifestation of Sora a bit elaborately. Okay, a bit elaboration is there for the primary manifestation of Sora. Okay, but here only the scabious eruption is mentioned. Both are meaning by the same. Okay, please go on.
So in the case of Sora, the scabious eruption, in syphilis, the chancre or the bubo, and in psychosis, the condylometer, that prevented their outburst. And these chronic miasmatic diseases, if deprived of their local symptom, are inevitably destined by mightily nature sooner or later to become developed and to burst forth, and thereby propagate all the nameless misery, the incredible number of chronic diseases which have plagued mankind for hundreds and thousands of years, none of which would so frequently have come into existence had physicians striven in a rational manner to cure radically and to extinguish in the organism these three miasms by the internal homeopathic medicines, suited for each of them without employing topical remedies for their external symptoms.
Okay, so when this primary manifestation of uh, SORA, this primary manifestation of SORA is, this is the primary manifestation of any disease, SORA, syphilis and psychosis. Any disease, the primary manifestation. It has been developed after internally penetrated. That was the moment of infection. That was the moment of infection. Internally penetrated, and this primary manifestation came into being. If this is suppressed, if this is suppressed primary manifestation, what will happen? It will go on to produce different sort of secondary manifestations. Okay, these secondary manifestation may also be on skin. Okay, this secondary manifestation may also be on skin, like you will see that vitiligo, it is on skin external surface, psoriasis on external surface, ichthyosis on external surface, but these are more difficult to cure than the primary manifestation. And even if the vitality was strong, so that it has propelled the disease, the vitality was strong, so it has propelled the disease still to the outside, but you are again suppressing it, and it will go to a more important organ. Okay, you are suppressing the vitality low and low, so that it cannot outburst to the more harmless. Skin is the most harmless organ of the body. Okay, where the disease can persist vicarious. Why it is calling vicarious? Because it is maintaining the internal disease in the latent form. Okay, until and unless it is there outside, there is no danger of disease being going any other way, okay, to the more vital organs. But if it is suppressed, the disease will be outburst, and all the named diseases will come. Okay, so number 205.
The homeopathic physician never treat one of these primary symptoms of chronic miasm, nor yet one of their secondary affections that result from their further development by local remedies, neither by those external agents that act dynamically, nor yet by those that act mechanically. But he
Okay,
cures in cases where the one or the other appears. Only the great miasm on which they depend, whereupon its primary as also its secondary symptom disappear spontaneously, but as this was not the mode of pursuit by the old school practitioners who preceded him in the treatment of the case, the homeopathic physician generally allows find that the primary symptoms have already been destroyed by them by means of external remedies, and that he has now to do more with the secondary ones. That is, the affections resulting from the breaking forth and development of these inherent miasm, but especially with the chronic disease evolved from internal sora, the internal treatment of which, as far as a single physician can elucidate it by many years of reflection, observations, and experience, I have endeavored to point out in my work on chronic diseases, to which I must refer the reader.
okay. So what is here Hahnemann is saying, that in general practice we are getting cases not of primary psychosis, not of primary syphilis. Okay, we are getting cases of secondaries. We are not getting cases of primary eruption of sora. Okay, it we are getting the secondary manifestations of sora. And even nowadays organisms are rendered more complex, okay, due to this inheritance of disease in the later forms. Okay, the complex formation of disease, sora and syphilis is complexing with each other, psychosis is complexing with each other. Further, the organism are becoming more complex day by day, so these are difficult to cure. Now come to 84, aphorism number 84, 81, 81. Aphorism number 81. Read it.
The fact that this extremely ancient infecting agent has gradually passed in some hundred of generations through many millions of human organisms and has thus attained an incredible development renders it in some measures conceivable how it can now display such innumerable morbid forms in the great family of mankind, particularly when we consider what a number of circumstances contribute to production of these great varieties of chronic diseases, secondary symptom of SORA, beside the
Wait here.
indescribable diversity of many.
Wait here. Wait here. Underline some hundreds of generation. Some hundreds of generation. Since Adam and Eve, from then onward, the generation is coming of human being, and this has been passed. Previously, it was in more primitive form, in the form of leprosy. Then comes to scabies, then comes to eczema, like this. And this has been day by day complicating through millions, many millions of human organisms. Okay, underline this. Underline what a number of circumstances have contributed. What a number of circumstances have been contributing. Okay, next, underline indescribable diversity of man in respect to congenital corporeal constitution. Some diseases are racial, are more prominent in some races. Some diseases are more prominent in other races. So this is also, constitution is also affecting the modification of SORA along with these accessory circumstances. Okay, disease is same, SORA is same, but it is development in a different soil, so it is going to give a different result. So one, let me this is SORA, okay. Sometime this all are developing, but this SORA was same. This is having different manifestation. Okay, SORA is same, having different manifestation. Why this all sort of different manifestation? Because of accessory circumstances, because of different constitution. Same SORA is going to develop like this in this accessory circumstances, and this particular constitution hilly region में है. अगर person hilly region में है, तो they are going to be affected in that manner. If the person is in desert area, the SORA will be modified in that manner. If the person is in tropical area, the SORA will be modified in that manner. Plus, read this footnote. Read this footnote here.
Which one, sir? First or second?
Second footnote for 81. Footnote for 81. Second footnote.
Okay. How many improper ambiguous names do not these work contain under each of which are included?
Sorry, in the page for same 81 footnote 2. Some of the causes of exercise are modifying influences. Underlying modifying influences.
Sir, which aphorism? 81 footnote.
81 footnote.
Second footnote.
Second
footnote. Or first?
Actually, the first footnote is I think it's for 80. No, 81 has only one footnote. That is number 2.
Sir,
81 footnote.
Some of these causes that exercise a modifying influence on the transformation of SORA into chronic diseases manifestly depend sometime on the climate and the peculiar physical character of the place of abode, some time on the very great variety in the physical and mental training of youth, both of which may have been neglected, delayed, or carried to excess, or on their abuse in the business or conditions of life in the matter of diet and regimen, passions, manners, habits, and custom of various kind.
Okay, so these are underlying modifying influences for development of sora. Okay, same sora is there in two brothers. Think like that. Same sora is there in two brothers, and one is addicted to smoking, one is addicted to drinking alcohol. Okay, the one who is drinking alcohol will be given symptoms of cirrhosis at later age. One who is addicted to smoking will give symptoms of carcinoma lung at a later age. Clear? Sora was same, but this was accessory circumstances which is modifying the manifestation of disease. So you cannot tell that cirrhosis is a different disease and carcinoma of lung is different disease. Both you can tell have been originated from sora but nurtured differently. Clear? Have been nurtured differently with the accessory circumstances. Getting my point? Are you getting my
Yes,
point?
sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
these are the modifying influences. Okay, how the sora has been modifying to these diversity of diseases. We are getting so many named diseases, but all can be traced to a single sora, single syphilis, and single psychosis. But why this diversity is there? This diversity is there because of these modifying influences. Here, place of abode,
Yeah.
climate, culture, training of the youth. Okay, you will get, take an example of suicide. Okay, suicide you will get in the patient of syphilis. Okay, of syphilitic, predominantly syphilitic miasm is there. You will get the history of suicide in the family. But these suicide are very less common in the people of this Muslim people and Jewish people. Okay, this suicide is very less common. You will ask one in my clinic. I have asked one of my patient that ऐसा लगता है बोला डॉक्टर साहब हम हराम मौत थोड़ी मरेंगे. I will not die a prohibited death. The death by suicide is prohibited in Islam and in Jewish culture. Okay, those who are committing suicide are have been promised with hell. So these Muslim patient and Jewish patient will not commit suicide. Okay, more often you will get this is the training of the youth. Okay, modifying the manifestation of syphilis, modifying the manifestation of the miasm, the training, the mental training that this is a prohibited death and you have been promised with the hellfire if you have committed suicide. But in that patient, I was seeing that syphilis is there. I wanted to prescribe on the basis that Oramet features of Oramet was coming, but I was not yet. I was surprised that I was not getting the impulse of suicide. Then he told me that I am smoking 3 or 4 packets of cigarettes a day. Okay, and he is having chronic disease of lung. Can you imagine that this person knows that this smoking is going to harm him and still he is taking it? This is called unconscious suicide. If you know the culture, the background, you will search on the right path and you will go that in a Muslim patient, in a Jewish patient, you won't get impulses to suicide. Okay, more frequently if they are a bit religious, you will not go get impulses to suicide. But you know that if syphilis is there, the person will do something which is equivalent to suicide. Not consciously he is doing, but unconsciously he is doing that. 3 and 4 packet of cigarettes with a chronic disease of lung is not justifiable. This is unconscious suicide. Okay, so that is the modifying influence. You are not getting that. Those people who are means jumping from high. What is this? This is also a game. They are lover of this kind of game. Jump means paragliding, or like jumping from aeroplane, like these are sort of people are liking these games. These are the people with the syphilitic taint. Okay, so these are actually modifying your manifestation of miasm. Wait a minute, someone is at door. Okay, so these are the modification of miasm. You won't get the exact thing what you are thinking of, what you are by your knowledge of chronic disease thinking of, but you can get the modification of that due to this accessory modifying influences. Clear? Now, so this is modifying influences important for the modification of diseases. This is you can include in your accessory circumstances. The discussion of on accessory circumstances was there. I think I have missed this footnote of accessory. How accessory circumstances actually play three roles in our homeopathic prescribing. Okay, this will help you to understand the modification of disease. This will help you to choose the remedy, and this will help you, number three, this will help you to remove the obstacle to cure. Okay, help you to understand the modification of disease, help you to choice of remedy. For the choice of remedy, accessory circumstances will be helping. And number three, is there any obstacle to cure in the accessory circumstances, you will remove. Aphorism number 94, aphorism number 208, aphorism number 255. Clear? Sorry, 252, I think. 208 and 252. Okay, if there is an any other accessory circumstance which is persisting the disease, obstacle to cure. So this is one of the importance of accessory circumstances, how it is modifying your disease. Okay, so we were here in chronic disease, page number 33, second paragraph. Read this second paragraph.
The infection with miasm as well of the acute edge of the above mentioned chronic diseases take place without doubt in one single moment, and that moment one most favorable for infection.
Underline one single moment. Read next.
When the smallpox or cowpox catches, this happens in moment when in vaccination the morbid fluid in the bloody scratch of the skin comes in contact with the exposed nerve, which then irrevocably dynamically communicates the disease to the vital force, to the whole nervous system. In the same moment, after this moment of infection, no ablution, cauterizing, or burning, not even the cutting of the part which has caught the received the infection, can again destroy or undo the development of disease within. Smallpox, cowpox, measles, etc. nevertheless will complete their course within, and fever peculiar to each will break out with its smallpox, cowpox, measles, etc. after a few days when the internal disease has developed and completed itself.
Underline this. When the internal disease has developed and completed itself. Now, this is a comparison of acute miasm with the chronic miasm. The same in the case. Read next. Read next paragraph.
The same is the case, not to mention several other acute miasms. Also, when the skin of man is contaminated with the blood of cattle affected with anthrax, it as is frequently the case, the anthrax has infected and caught on evolution of the skin are in vain. The black or gangrenous blisters nearly always fatal, nevertheless always comes out after 4 or 5 days, usually in the affected spots. That is, as soon as the whole living organism has transformed itself to this terrible disease.
Okay. Huh. Again, comparing the whole internal organism have been manipulated with the disease. Whole organism has been impregnated with the disease. Then the disease is outbursting. It is just so with the infection of half acute miasms. Read
Next,
the next
it is
next
just
in the line.
it is just so with the infection of half acute miasms without eruptions among many persons bitten by mad dogs, thanks to the benign ruler of the world. Only few are infected, rarely the 12th often. As I myself have observed, only 1 out of 20 or 30% bitten. The others, even if ever so badly mangled by the mad dog, usually all recover, even if they are not treated by a physician or surgeon. But with whomsoever the poison acts, it has taken effect in the moment when the person was bitten, and the poison has then communicated itself to the nearest nerve, and therefore without contradiction to the whole system of nerves, as soon as the malady has been developed in the whole organism. For this development and completion of the disease, nature requires at least several days, often many weeks. The madness
Okay.
breaks out as an acute, quickly fatal disease. Now, if the venomous spittle of the mad dog has really taken effect, the infection usually has taken place irrevocably in the
That is side
moment of
topic we have already discussed in the introduction of organon. That is a side topic we have already discussed in the introduction of organon. That no, if the mad dog have bitten you, even if the physician have cut the limb, the poison will spread. Why this rabies is being called half acute miasm here? Because it has no fixed development. Okay, it may be breaking out or it may not. It may break out or may not. Even after years, 20 or 30 years after bitten by mad dog, this may develop. That is why it is being called as half acute miasm. No fixed latent period. Okay, that is why it is called half acute miasm. Next part is of example in the footnote. Hahnemann has given an example of girl in Glasgow, what we have read already in the introduction of organon of medicine. The example of girl in Glasgow, where the physician tried to amputate the limbs but didn't help to save his patient from being rabid. Okay, that was the second part. Read the next paragraph. Read the next paragraph.
From the progress of all these miasmatic diseases, we may plainly see that after the contagion from without, the malady connected with it in the interiors of the whole man must first be developed. That is, the whole interior man must first have become thoroughly sick of smallpox, measles, or scarlet fever, before these various eruptions can appear on the skin.
Underline this. Must first develop. Whole man must first be developed. It in the interior of the whole man must first be developed. That is, whole organism should be infected interiorly. Next, for all the acute miasmatic diseases,
For all these acute miasmatic diseases, the human constitution possesses that process which, as a rule, is so beneficent to wipe them out, that is the specific fever together with the specific eruptions, in the course of from 2 to 3 weeks, and of itself to extinguish them again through a kind of decision crisis from the organism, so that man then is born to be entirely healed of them, and indeed in a short time, unless he be killed by them.
okay. This is acute disease. In acute disease, what is happening? Vital force is trying to make the disease more on the external. Remember always, the vital force is not there to cure. It will suffer in acute disease also. It is not curing acute disease. Okay, acute disease will be tolerated by vital force well by these production of external symptoms. Production of these symptoms, acute disease, vital force will try to tolerate it till the acute disease finishes its course. What is doing vital force is doing? Vital force is will try to tolerate it till it is finishing its course. Okay, next.
In the chronic miasmatic diseases, nature observes the same course with respect to the mode of contagion and the antecedent formation of the internal disease before the external declarative symptoms of its internal completion manifest itself on the surface of body. But then that great remarkable difference from the acute diseases shows itself, that in the chronic miasmata the entire internal disease, as we have mentioned before, remains in the organism during the whole life. Yeah, it increases with every year if it is not exterminated and thoroughly cured by the art.
In acute miasm, what was happening? It was finishing its course within a limited period of time. But these chronic miasm have no course. It will end with the life of the patient. It won't go by itself. It needs its homeopathic treatment. Otherwise, it will end with the life of patient and transform into next generation. Okay. Next.
Of these chronic miasmata, I shall for this purpose only adduce those two which we know somewhat more exactly, namely the venereal chancre and the itch.
Okay. Two. Venereal Shankar and each. Next is coming psychosis. Oh, next.
In impure quiescence, there arises most probably at the very moment in the spot which is touched and rubbed the specific contagion. If this contagion has taken effect, then the whole living body is in consequence seized with it. Immediately after the moment of contagion, the formation of the venereal disease in the whole of the interior begins.
Okay. Next.
In that part of sexual organs where the infection has taken place, nothing unnatural is noticed in the first days, nothing diseased, inflamed, or corroded. So also all washing and cleansing of the parts immediately after the impure quiescence is in vain. The spots remain healthy according to appearance, only the internal organism is called into activity by the infection, which occurs usually in a moment, so as to incorporate the venereal miasm and to become thoroughly diseased with the venereal malady.
Next paragraph. Whole of the organism is penetrated. Same thing is being talked again and again. Next paragraph.
Only when this penetration of all the organs by the disease caught has been effected, only when the whole being has been changed, into a man entirely venereal, that is, when the development of the venereal disease has been completed, only then disease nature endeavor to mitigate the internal evil and to soothe it by producing a local symptom which first shows itself as a vesicle, usually in the
Underline
spot
this.
or
Only then, when the from here, when the development of the venereal disease has been completed, only then the disease nature endeavors to mitigate the internal evil and soothe it by producing local symptoms. Underline this. Then what happened? Read.
which first shows itself as a vesicle, usually in the spot originally infected, and later break out into a painful ulcer called a chancre. This does not appear before 5, 7 or 14 days, sometimes, though rarely not before 3, 4 or 5 weeks after the infection. This is therefore manifestly a chancre ulcer which act vicariously for the internal malady and which has been produced from within by the organism after it has become venereal through and is able through its touch to communicate also to other men the same miasma, that is the venereal disease.
Okay. Next. Acting as vicarious for the internal disease. Vicarious means it is suppressing the internal disease and soothing the internal disease, and it is outer manifestation for the internal disease. Now the entire disease is arising and again extinguish. Read it.
Now, if the entire disease, thus arising, is again extinguished through the internally given specific remedy, then the canker also is healed and the man recovers.
Clear? But if
But
the chancre destroyed,
But if the canker is destroyed through local applications before the internal disease is healed, and this is still a daily practice with physicians of old school, the miasmatic chronic venereal disease remains in the organism as syphilis, and it is aggravated if not then cured internally from year to year until the end of man's life, even the most robust constitution being unable to annihilate it within itself.
okay. So if you destroy the local application, it will burst. Syphilis will be bursting out. He's just giving the examples. Next,
Only
what we
through
have
the
already read, what we have already read in 205. That is next.
only through the cure of venereal disease which pervades the whole internal of the body, as I have taught and practiced for many years. The canker, its local symptom, will also simultaneously be cured in a most effective manner, and this is the best effected without the use of any external application for its removal, while the merely local destruction of the canker without any previous general cure and deliverance of man from the internal disease is followed by the most certain outbreak of syphilis with its suffering.
So this syphilis is not common nowadays. The outer manifestation. If even if the person is suffering from syphilis, he will not come to you. He will straightforward will go to allopathic physician where they will give the penicillin injection and it will get cured. Okay. And nowadays people are using protective measures. So this primary manifestation of syphilis is not going to manifest itself on the local organ. Okay, but this syphilis may be transformed directly in the secondary stages. Next.
Sora, its disease, like syphilis, is a miasmatic chronic disease and its original development is similar. The itch disease is,
Is similar.
however, also
What we have read in the syphilis, that moment of
yes,
infection, then internal whole of the internal organism has been penetrated, then outburst, and then suppression will lead to secondary symptoms. Same thing as happening here in the Sora. Read it by yourself. Next few paras, read it by yourself. Any question if you are having to this, you can ask. Okay. If you have any
so
question, just complete it. Reading by yourself next few paragraphs regarding Sora and we will next discuss from Roberts.
सर जो लास्ट क्लास
If
जो
any
आपने,
question,
ये सर
हाँ बोलो.
जो
हाँ बोलो.
हेयरिंग जब प्रूविंग कर रहे थे वो स्नेक पॉइजन का, तो उनको सर वो टॉक्सिसिटी हुआ था क्योंकि वो तो विड्रॉल कर लिया था मेडिसिन को, फिर भी वो उनका जो वो टाई नहीं पहन पाए अपने लाइफ में, तो वो क्या था, टॉक्सिसिटी था या आर्टिफिशियल डिजीज था जो लॉन्ग लाइफ बनी ही रही उनको?
Is there any difference between toxicity and artificial disease? That was chronic artificial disease produced by the proving of lachesis. Chronic
सर
artificial
जैसा
disease.
वी हैव रेड कि वो तो वाइटल फोर्स खुद ही उसको रेमेडाइड कर देता है, तो इस कंडीशन में ऐसा
हाँ.
क्यों नहीं हुआ?
क्यों नहीं हुआ? वही तो, वाइटल फोर्स को उतना ये नहीं हो पाया, वो डिजीज स्ट्रॉन्गर था. वाइटल फोर्स हम लोग क्या पढ़े हैं वहां पे 76 में क्या पढ़े हैं? इफ इट हैज नॉट ऑलरेडी बीन टू मच वीकेंड, ओके, एंड कैन डिवोट सेवरल इयर्स. हो सकता है कि अगर हेरिंग और कुछ दिन ज्यादा जिंदा रहते तो हो सकता है दिस कुड हैव बीन क्योर्ड.
तो सर वो
कैन डिवोट सेवरल
आर्टिफिशियल
इयर्स. क्रॉनिक आर्टिफिशियल डिजीज था. क्रॉनिक आर्टिफिशियल डिजीज था.
कंट्रोल कर लिया उस मेडिसिन को, तब भी रिकवरी नहीं हो पाई, तो ऐसा तो हम
go to aphorism number 244. 244 footnote.
240
You will get an incurable quinine intoxication.
large repeated dosage of cinchona bark is also concentrated cinchonic
Third, fourth line, you will get incurable quinine intoxication. Incurable quinine intoxication. That you can term incurable lachesis intoxication. Okay. Large often repeated doses, that may be that this may be that lachesis was taken in repeated doses with high potency by hearing.
Yes sir.
Okay.
Yes sir.
So that intoxication and artificial diseases are nothing but the same. Chronic intoxication.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So we will meet next, then we will try and start Robert's philosophy, chronic disease. Okay. Thank you for giving your attention for 1 hour. We will meet tomorrow.
Thank you.